This one thing will transform your entire spiritual life. We just made a video recently on the one thing that will transform your prayer life and make it a whole lot better. But this will revolutionize and transform your whole spiritual life from top to bottom. If you can practice this and you can put it into practice and you can really develop it, it is so powerful and life transforming. All the saints practiced it. And that's why they were face to face with God. And it really helped to bring them deeper, their prayer lives deeper, help them to grow in virtue and so much more. So we're going to talk about exactly what that is right after this. Hello everyone, my name is Bryan Mercier. I'm the president here of Catholic Truth. We want to help you to know, love, and live your Catholic faith, to understand it, to be set on fire for it, and even to be able to defend it, and to be transformed by Jesus Christ. Here in this video today, we are going to be talking about the one thing that is going to transform your whole spiritual life. If you would like to follow us on social media, check that out in our description section below. So the one thing that will transform your life, as it's transformed mine, as it's transformed everyone's, the saints all talk about it, is practicing the presence of God. It's something that anybody, anywhere, at any time can do, which is amazing. See, many people think that priests and nuns are the ones who become saints only, that holiness is for them, but holiness is for everyone, and this one thing can change everything, and that is focusing on the presence of God in you and around you, focusing on his presence in you and around you. Amazing. Like literally, too many times we're running, going, doing, and we never stop to think or take time in the present moment to consider God in the silence. See, God is in the present moment in the silence, but we never stop there, which is why we don't have a deep relationship with him. Practicing the presence of God is just focusing on God's presence in and around you throughout the day, every day. So while you're washing dishes, you can be aware of God's presence. And when we made our previous video, which we will link if we remember, our previous video said that you can do this starting in prayer. Every day you pray. Don't just start praying. Take 30 seconds to 2 minutes every day before you even say the Hail Mary, Our Father, or any other prayer, just to figure out where God is. Don't just start praying, Our Father who art in heaven. No, think about where God is first. Put yourself in his presence. Where is he? Who are you speaking to? Take that time and it will change your prayer life so much more deeply. Now, extract that onto a greater level, into every aspect of your life. When you're in the shower, maybe don't think or hum. Don't listen to your music or your phone or anything else. Take that time in silence just to realize that God is there present with you. Focus on his presence around you. When you're walking to work, driving to work, when you're up in the morning before anyone else is awake, just take a few minutes, even just a minute, to stop and realize that God is there. Focus on his presence in you and around you. Your favorite verse in the entire Bible is going to be Psalm 46:10, which says, "Be still and know that I am God." It doesn't say a lot of prayers and litanies and novenas and do all this stuff and ask for this and intercede for that. It says, be still and know that I am God. And just recently at Mass, in the readings, we heard that Abraham didn't find God in the earthquake or the fire or the hurricane or anything else. He found God in the still, small silence. His small voice in the silence. Every day, many times a day, we can take those moments of silence just to stop and focus on God's presence. So when we're washing dishes, throughout that whole time you're washing dishes, granted kids aren't yelling at you, screaming at you the entire time, there is going to be a minute or two where you can just calm yourself and say, God, I offer this up to you. I offer this work I'm doing up to you right now. And then just stop and be in his presence and be aware of his presence around you and just offer up your heart as a gift of love. Offer up those dishes as a sacrifice of love. Or maybe it's mowing the lawn, or maybe it's changing a diaper. Anytime we can find 10 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes. I mean, if you really want to get deep with God like the saints did, then you're going to get up to 10, 20, 30 minutes or more of silence where you're just putting yourself in the presence of God and just being. St. Augustine said, so few people take time to pray to God out of love for his sake. Too many times we're asking and interceding and doing all these other things, and we're not just present there out of love for him, for his sake. So when we take that time in silence just to be with God, and that it takes time, especially if you're here in the United States or a first world country and you're running. When you stop, your mind's still going. So it takes a little bit of a practice. That's why there's a whole book I have on my shelf over there called The Practice of the Presence of God. Highly recommend it, by Brother Lawrence. And he did this all throughout the day. He stayed connected to God in everything he did, whether he was working or playing or praying or whatever. He was always connected to the presence of God, connected deeply to his Lord. Historically, I've done the same thing since my conversion, and since studying these books and the saints and their lives, I've always also been able to do that. I remember I was at a party one day, and because I had cultivated the presence of God so deeply, I would pray up for an hour in silence or more, just sitting in silence, an hour or 2 hours in silence, just being with God, just loving him and letting him love me, just having that deep, intimate, wordless relationship, just being. Kind of like a lover staring into the eyes of her beloved. They don't need to say anything. They don't need to hug. They don't need to do anything. Just stare into each other's eyes and you both know you deeply love each other. Or sometimes the babies look up into your eyes and a little baby's just staring at you and you're staring down at the baby. Don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. You're just sharing that act of love, that act of communion, the act of relationship. It's the same thing with God. Those are the deepest relationships we can have with God. And I remember one time I was at a party, my own party, and I had like 50 people there and we were all having so much fun. And I had this deep calling from God. I just felt his presence so strongly. And it was almost like he was calling me to an act of communion with himself. So I left my party and I went upstairs and I just spent 5 or 10 minutes basking in that beautiful presence, that beautiful outpouring of his love in my life. And I just sat with him. I didn't need to do anything. I just was. And many times throughout my life, I'm just aware of the presence of God around me and everything. And it's wonderful. It's how St. Paul says, pray at all times without ceasing. How can you pray without ceasing? By focusing on the presence of God around you and bringing him with you everywhere, bringing him with you in every aspect, on your dates. If you're going on a date with someone, bring him there. Even if it's just 30 seconds, 10 seconds, be aware of his presence. Realize that he's there with you. Say, I love you, Jesus. Thank you for this time with this beautiful woman or this wonderful man. Whatever it is, you can take time just to have that connection with God. People text 1,000 times a day and it's not really deep. But then they have those deeper times where you spend quality time with that person. These deeper, quiet moments are the quality time. These are what get us deeper with God. When we stop talking. And we have a whole video on the dangers of vocal prayer, why people never grow deep with God. They never get their prayers answered. They never get this because they're doing it wrong. So we have a whole prayer video on the dangers of vocal prayer and how to do it more properly. And we have a 12 CD set on our website, catholictruth.org, if you want to really know the depths of the spiritual life and how to do it. But I want to leave you with this one thing. Every day, just as a reminder, before you pray, take 30 seconds to 2 minutes just to be silent. Where is God? Focus on his presence. He's filling up this room. He's here with me. And when I can focus on that presence, I can pray to him more deeply and with more focus, more fervently. My prayer will mean a lot more. But also I want you to focus more just in your daily duties. Don't forget God throughout the day and maybe throw in a couple minutes of prayer at night. No, that's not a prayer life and it's not a relationship. Focus on God throughout the day, whether you're running kids to the mall or to sports practice, or whether you are taking your wife or husband on a date, whether you're getting ready for a work project. Maybe you say a prayer for that, or maybe you just finished giving a presentation and you just take a minute to stop and focus on the presence of God and just have that reminder that God is there with you every day of every moment of your entire life. He's always looking at you. He's always thinking of you. He's always smiling down on you and offering his love to you. How much do you think of him in return? Ever since God transformed my life, one of my goals in ministry and in starting Catholic Truth was to help transform other people's lives in Christ, to help teach them the depths of the spiritual life that I've learned from God and I've learned from all the great saints. I don't know anything. They do. They taught me, and I'm just regurgitating what they've taught, and I've experienced it myself. So I hope that these videos and all the videos in our spiritual folder can help transform your life. And again, we have CDs on this on our website, catholictruth.org, in our shop if you're interested. But I really hope this has helped you. Please share this with a world that does not know God. So many Catholics, even good Catholics like religious education directors, youth ministers, priests, are so busy that they don't have time for these deep spiritual truths. They're not too busy, but they make their lives too busy. I make my life too busy for this, which is why it's a deep reminder for me. I get away from this sometimes and my life feels chaotic, anxious, stressful. And then this is the cure for my busy life as well, because when I start taking time for silence and I start bringing myself away from the world and bringing myself within to where God is, then I find that peace again, that presence, that goodness, that joy, that everything that God is found here every moment because he's here with us. So it heals me when I'm too busy and I need silence. Silence is the answer to our desperate and dying and destructive generation that doesn't take time for God. Cardinal Sarah said in his book, The Power of Silence, he said that not taking time for silence is the assassination of God in your life. The Power of Silence. We have a whole video on this channel on that book, The Power of Silence. That will transform your life. Put this into practice every day, many times a day. Write a note on your phone. Put a reminder in your calendar. Focus on the presence of God. Put an alarm on your phone. Focus on the presence of God twice a day, just to remind you to start doing it more and more and more. Because if you do it and you go deep with it, it will transform your life. God bless you.